Hi, I'm Jake from TradeLab.ai. Today we're going to be setting up a new strategy as an example. It's going to be a simple Rsi strategy, and this will show you how to set up alerts in TradingView, as well as how to make a couple simple rules to put a strategy together. TradeLab.ai is a platform that allows traders to build their own strategies. It can be used for free. It works well with TradingView and many other alerting platforms. And the basic premise is that you send alerts and we create some rules in TradingView using our visual builder, no code, that allows you to build your own strategy. So let's have an example. First thing we're going to do is click Build a Strategy. It'll open up the strategy builder, and then we'll name our strategy. I'll say simple RSI. Okay. And we'll go ahead and scroll down and select our symbol. I'll use BTC today. And now let's talk about how to set up our alerts. So if we hit save, it will create the strategy for us, and then it'll give us these tabs at the top. If we go over to the alerts tab, we can see a list of our alerts. We don't have any yet, so we'll click on the plus button, and this will open up the alert builder. So the alert builder actually helps you generate your alert, and in this example today, we're going to be using TradingView. So if I go over to TradingView, the first thing I want to do is add my indicators and figure out what kind of strategy I want. Today, I'm going to set up a simple RSI strategy. So I'm going to go to indicators, I'm going to type in RSI, and I'm going to find the relative strength index, which is a built-in technical that's inside TradingView. So if we click on this, it'll add it to the chart, and we can see that the RSI is this purple line. And our goal today is anytime the RSI crosses above the 70, when it crosses back down, that's when we want to do a short. And anytime it crosses below the 30, when it crosses back up, we want to do a long. Okay? So let's take a look at that. The first thing we'll do is create an alert in TradingView, and we'll set up our condition. So to set up this alert, we'll select RSI. That'll target this indicator. And now we want to know which line in this indicator we want. So the RSI is the purple line, and the yellow line is the RSI-based MA. Now, how do I know that? If I click on the fourth button from the top on this toolbar over here, this is called the data window. And the data window will show you what lines are which. So you can see that this RSI is purple, and this RSI-based MA is yellow. And as I said, anytime the purple crosses, that's the one that we want. Okay, so we'll go ahead and create our alert, and we'll select our RSI, and we'll select RSI as the line. Okay, now what I said is when we cross up, that's fine on the 70, but when we cross back down, that's when I want to go ahead and trigger an order. So we'll hit crossing down, and what value do we want to cross down? It's 70. We can see that here, over here on the chart, okay? And for this, I want this to fire once per bar. Now, once per bar means that it's going to fire as soon as it hears the cross down. Yeah, as soon as it hears this crossing down the 70, it'll fire anytime in the bar. Now, if I have like a 1 hour bar, if it fires in the first 2 minutes, that's great. But if I do once per bar close, then it will only fire at the end of the bar. So if the cross down happens in the first 2 minutes of the bar, and then it goes back up, if at the end of the bar, it's not below the line, then it will not trigger a alert. Okay, so that's the difference between once per bar and once per bar close. It will only trigger if it's met, if the condition is met at the end of the bar, right? And this will trigger at any time during the bar. So now what we want to do is set this up in TradeLab. So if we go over to TradeLab, first thing we want to do is name our alert. We'll name this RSI overbought. Okay, and this is when we're going to make our sell, right? So it's above the 70. And the next box here is the instructions. So this is mainly used when you're sharing your strategy or when you want to sort of remind yourself how to set this up. So you can type in any instructions in here. I might type in like add RSI indicator to chart, then add a TV alert, right? And for the condition and the options, this actually matches what's in TradingView. So you can see condition and options here. So again, this is really more for like instructions. If you're going to share this with somebody, they need to know how you set this up. So I made a box here so that you can type that in. So for example, I might say select RSI indicator, then select RSI line crosses down 70, right? And so that describes what I just did here, right? Then I could also put my once per bar in here, and that's going to give me my options. And now it's going to ask for my webhook URL. So TradeLab provides the webhook URL. You just click on this, it'll copy it, and then you can paste that in here. So pasting this in here, that's basically connecting TradingView to TradeLab. Now it's going to send that signal over to TradeLab, okay? And what signal do we want to send? Well, this is where we actually make the signal. So TradeLab is going to help you build the signal by filling out these fields down here. So the way that alerts work, alerts can have different pieces of data in them in one alert. So the way that alerts work, they can have multiple pieces of data in one alert. TradeLab will automatically break these pieces of data apart, and that makes it easy to use this information later on when we create our rules. I'll show you that in a second. But basically what you need to know now is that each of these lines is a name and a value. So the name is whatever you want it to be. There's no hard and fast rules here. So by default, this is a very basic default alert. And by default, we have like a type and a symbol and an interval, right? So the interval would be like, is this a 1 minute or a 15-minute chart or a 1 hour chart? So that's the interval. The symbol is obviously what coin is the chart. So like BTC or Ethereum, that sort of thing. The type is what I use the type for, sort of like the name of the alert. So in this case, I would say overbought. Now again, there's no hard and fast rules here. So if you want to name type instead of type, if you want to say alert name, you can do that. If you want to have a space in here, if you want to make it all caps, you can do that, okay? There's no hard and fast rules. And you can also delete any of these. If you don't want to have a symbol, if you don't want to have an interval, you can delete these. It won't break anything. You will see that I have autofill here. That's actually changing the message so that it has these weird codes in here. These weird codes are actually part of TradingView. So TradingView understands this little code here, and it will replace that with whatever ticker or symbol that you've selected. So for example, Bitcoin, it will send Bitcoin BTC as the symbol automatically. So that helps if you copy this alert to many different symbols, instead of having to edit this and replace it, these little shortcuts, the autofill shortcut, will help you, do that more quickly. Okay, there are some more things to talk about as far as making dynamic alerts. And we'll talk about that in another video. So there's a lot more that we can do in the alert builder, and we'll cover that in the next video. Okay. For this example, this is all we really need. Okay. I'm gonna make this type because I just like to use type for my alert name. And what we have here is my type is overbought. I have my symbol, and I am gonna also keep track of my interval. Okay. And what so if I want to do multiple time frames, I could send it one alert from the 15-minute chart and one alert from the 1 hour chart, and having this interval here is going to keep them separate, right? So that's why I'm using it. You don't have to, you can delete it if you want. It's all up to you. Okay, so this is the alert, that I'm creating, if I click on this, it'll copy the message. So it's created the message for me. And now I'm going to go into TradingView. I'm going to paste this, and there's my message there. Okay, I can name this RSI overbought. And now I have a alert set up in TradingView. Whenever it crosses down, it will send this alert. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up one more. It should be pretty quick. So now that I've explained all this, let's show you how quickly we can set up an alert. Okay, so I'll press plus again to create one more. This is going to be my RSI oversold. Okay, for my instructions, I'm just going to say add RSI indicator and add TV alert. RSI indicator, RSI line crossing up the 30. Okay, so if I come over here and press plus alert, I can say RSI crossing up the value 30. Okay, now we're going to cross up 30, and I want to do this once per bar, and we'll say once per bar here. And now I'll just type in oversold right here. And we'll go ahead and copy the alert message, paste it here. This webhook URL is actually going to be the same. So 19F4, you can see it here, 19F4. So TradingView is pretty good at saving this for you. So you'll usually use the same webhook URL. You don't need to make a new webhook URL per strategy, per alert. You can use the same one. Okay. There is another video that talks about alert templates and webhook URLs. It's a more advanced topic. Most people don't need to worry about this. Okay. But if you are interested in it, you can go watch that other video. All right. So now we have this. This is going to be our RSI oversold. And that's our new alert. So we say create. Now we have two alerts, and they're sending RSI overbought, RSI oversold. Sending the TradeLab, we have two alerts over here in TradeLab. And now let's go ahead and make our bot place an order each time it hears an alert. Okay, so let's go over to edit. And in order to make our bot place orders, we need to create rules. So the way that TradeLab works, each time it hears an alert, it's going to run your rules. Depending on if the strategy is in a trade or not, it will run either these blue rules right here or these orange rules. So if it's looking for a trade and it's not currently in a trade, it will run the blue rules. Once it's in a trade, it will start running the orange rules, looking for an exit. Okay, so this helps you keep your logic separate from when you're looking for a trade versus trying to exit a trade. Okay, so to enter a trade, I'm going to create a long entry rule. Okay, and I'm going to create a condition, and this condition is going to say that if my custom alert has a type that is equal to overbought. Okay, so this matches what I did a second ago. When I created my alert, I said type and I typed in overbought for the value, right? And so that's how we're matching this up here. Okay, now sometimes I might use multiple different symbols. So remember, I had my symbol inside of my alert, and I went up here and selected my symbol BTC USD, right? So I want to make sure that whenever this strategy runs, it only processes alerts for this symbol BTC USD. Okay, so what I could do is custom alerts is equal to, and I could type in BTC USD, right? USDT. Okay, but instead of doing that, if I did that, what would happen is if I copy this and make it for another symbol, I would have to come in here and edit any rule that I have that says BTC and make it a different symbol. That's annoying, right? We don't want to do that. That would take time. So instead, we can use the reference field box. If we check this, then this turns into a drop-down, and we can search for fields. And this allows us to actually hook up to this right here. You see how it says capital S symbol? So all of these fields in trade settings, you can hook up to. So if I come down here, the reference field, if I type in symbol, now if I select the capital S symbol, I'm comparing what's in my alert to what's selected here. Okay, and so now if I copy this strategy, I won't have to edit anything. It's already sort of hooked up. It's all I have to do is edit this symbol once, and I don't have to worry about editing my rules, right? So that's a little tip there. I can also look for my interval, right? So I had my custom alerts, I had an interval. So if I'm using the 15-minute chart and the 1-hour chart, I could make sure that this only listens to the 15-minute. Right? And so it'll only hear alerts for that chart. Okay? So I would just type in 15 there. And now that I have this set up, these are the 3 conditions that I want. If I hear an alert that has overbought, that's the right symbol, and that's for the right time frame, then I want to place an order, right? So the first thing I want to do is make sure that I place a short. So this, I actually said overbought. This should be, if this is overbought, this should actually be a short entry rule, right? So if it's overbought, we want to do a short. If it's oversold, we want to do a long, right? So let's do the short for right now, and then we'll do the long. In this example, I want to show you how to set up one strategy that will trade long and short. Okay, that's what we call a combo strategy. Okay, so you'll see in the trade settings, I have the side and it says buy or sell. So that would make it seem like every strategy can only do buy or sell, one or the other. And you would have to set up maybe 2 strategies to do both. That's actually not the case. The way that TradeLab works is you can change this on the fly, right? So you know how I just said that we use the reference field here? And we are referencing the symbol, and all I have to do is change this, and now this rule will know what symbol I want. Well, that's when we're doing condition statements, and we're trying to read what's in this box. But when we're doing actions, the way that a rule works, it'll run all of its conditions, and if the conditions are all true, then it runs the actions, and the actions can change things. And so what we can do is we can actually change this side from buy to sell and from sell to buy whenever we hear an alert. So whenever we talk about a combo strategy is just a strategy that is on the fly changing the side from buy to sell or sell to buy whenever it hears a certain alert. And you can change anything, not just the side. For example, if you have different alerts that give you strong confirmations and weak confirmations, you could have the strong confirmation up your leverage. And then whenever you have a weak confirmation, you could lower your leverage, right? So this allows you to be very flexible and creative with how you want to trade. So going back to the actions, if I want to set up a trade so that this will do a short, what I need to do is go to type set. So I want to set my strategy side, right? So I want to set my strategy side to short, to sell. So what that's doing is it's setting this right here to sell. That's what that does. Okay, so it's buy right now, but whenever it hears an alert for overbought, it's going to make it change to sell. Okay, and whenever you come back in here and look, it'll say sell. Okay, so now that we're doing a short and we have a short strategy, now we can go ahead and hit plus on actions again, and we'll do place order. So this is actually going to place an order, and it'll place an order for however much I have in my trade amount. So you can come up here and you can fill in your trade amount. Say I want to do $50 on every trade. So my estimated margin size would be $50. That would give me 0.002 BTC, and it would place a trade whenever it hears this alert now. Okay. Now, if I wanted to say trade my balance, I could do percentage, and I could do say 5% of my balance, and that would give me a different margin size. I don't have any money right now, but that's how that would work if you want to trade like a percentage. Okay. Now, what we want to do is show you how to do this for a long. So if we just hit this clone button, we can actually copy this, and now we can do a long and a short. So I'll do the long on the left side, long and short on the right side. So for our long, we want our type to be oversold, right? So this is going to listen for our other alert, right? So we have two alerts. This one will listen for one. This one will listen for the other. So the oversold alert should be for the same symbol, the same interval, and instead of doing a sell, we want to do a buy or a long, right? So there we go, and then we'll do place order. So now we have our entry, long and short, and it's ready to go. So now that we have our entry rules, we need to discuss how we're going to exit. So the easiest way to exit is just to set a take profit and stop loss. So if you want to set a very simple take profit and stop loss, you could say 4% take profit and 2% stop loss, right? And that would give you a 2-to-1 risk ratio and allow you to exit whenever the price moves 4%, or exit whenever the price goes down by 2%. Okay. If you wanted to do this by a USD amount, you could do that. You could also set a USD exact price. So if you wanted to say 30,000, you could set your stop loss at $30,000. Right. There's also an advanced option here. This allows you to set up multiple lines. So it'll actually walk you through how many lines you want to set up and ask you questions on where you want to place them and that sort of stuff. We have a video on how to set up multiple take profits and stop losses. So if you want to go watch that, that'll help you do the advanced. Okay. Now, say we don't want to just rely on our take profit and stop loss. Sometimes we want to get out in the middle of the trade because we hear an alert that means that we should exit. So, for example, if I already heard an oversold and I then later on hear an overbought, I should probably get out and exit my long, right? So let's set up a rule that would exit. I could either press the add exit rule, and I could make it manually by coming in here and selecting everything just like we did before. Or to make this easy, I can just click this other clone button with the arrows, and it'll clone it over to the other side. So now I have a long exit rule, okay? And this long exit rule fires whenever it hears overbought. Okay, so when it hears the overbought, it's going to, we don't care about our side anymore. Our side is already set up, so I'm going to hit the minus button to remove this action. And we want to close the order. This action is close order. Okay, so now we have our long exit rule. I'll clone this one more time, and I'll make a short exit rule. So my short is on the right side again, and we'll make this an oversold. So whenever it hears oversold, it's going to close the order. All right, and so that concludes the setup for this RSI strategy. That's all we need to do. You'll make sure that you'll set up your trade amount, your leverage, if you need to change your order type. You can also set up limit offsets, limit timeouts, and things of that nature in the advanced settings. So that's it. That is an example of how to set up alerts. Your alert should be running in TradingView. And if you hit save and exit, you'll see that your simple RSI is now running and looking for entry on TradeLab. So it's ready to go. As soon as it hears an alert, it'll go ahead and fire, and it should place a order based on the rules. If we want to test that, we can actually test it by clicking the edit button. We can go over to the alerts tab, and we can send a test alert. So if I want to send a test sell, if I want to send a test short order, I can click on this send icon, and it's going to open up the send test alert. dialog. So go ahead and type in 15 for our interval. Make sure our symbol is BTC USD, and we'll say place real orders. So it'll actually place an order. If I uncheck this box, it'll tell me that it's going to place an order, but it won't actually place it. Right? So I'll go ahead and hit send alert. That'll bring me to the alert screen, and it's going ahead and processing the alert. All right, and it went ahead and created our order, and we can go back to my strategies, and we can see that it's an open short. So this did say market long, but now it says market short because it heard a short alert and it changed, just like I talked about before. All right. So that is an example of how to set up a combo strategy, how to set up your own alerts using TradingView. If you have any questions, you can always join us on Discord by clicking the help button right here. And if you type in Discord, you'll find a link to join the Discord. If you don't want to join the Discord, but you still want to send me a question, you can always do that by clicking the Create Support ticket. If you click on that, it'll send a email to me, and I'll go ahead and respond back via email. Okay? If you found the video helpful, do me a favor and give it a like. You can subscribe for more updates, and hope you guys have a good night.